It has been good to me this time around. Things were bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact, and I can find no rest. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to those who wait. Time it cannot know the bounds, and there I don't dictate.
Well, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to Xandermonium, the talk show that gets you talking. Happy 4th of July to all of our listeners. I'm Xander Gibb.
And I'm Tyhe, Egar. Hello.
Coming up on today's show, we will be breaking down some of this week's hotter topics, looking at the results of this week's poll, and taking your calls. And in part 2, we will be joined by Thomas Schmitz to talk about the Scotus same-sex marriage decision and its ramifications. More to come in a mere moment. Today's show is sponsored by Warwick Insurance Agency, www.warwickagency.com. That's www.warwickagency.com, insuring people for life. You can interact with us in the show. You can keep scrolling down and go to the chat room at the bottom of the show page. If it won't let you in, you need to join with either Facebook or Twitter. You can call us on 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. Or on Twitter, you can tweet me. My Twitter handle is at XanderGibb, XanderGibb, capital X, capital G. Tyhe's Twitter handle is at Tyhe Egar, TYHEPAULEGAR, capital T, capital P, capital E. And you can also tweet Thomas, who is our guest in part 2. His Twitter handle is Thomas S Schmitz. I'll spell it for you. Capital T, HOMAS, capital S, CHMITZ. Tweet me or Tyhe if you're too shy, and we will make your point for you. As I said, there's still time to vote in our poll at xandergibb.com. And this week's question is, do you know the real story behind the 4th of July celebrations? Results to come later on in the show, or you can call and tell us exactly what you think on this subject or absolutely anything you want to get off your chest. Our number, once again, is 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. Welcome back to the show, Tyhe. You've been off on your travels and been doing some things down in London. And you're going to tell us a little bit about that right now, are you?
I can, if you like. Yes, okay. I was down in London. I was down there, yes, for the Stonewall celebration, the Stonewall charity celebration of Stonewall, which went okay. I've not got wildly positive things to say about the actual celebration itself on the day, not the actual, Stonewall happening 50 years ago. I have to say I didn't hear anything new. The party itself. I nodded off several times. I was with a colleague from Disorder magazine, who both of us looked at each other, and at one point we were on a boat going down the Thames. Both of us looked at each other and were contemplating whether we could swim to the shore at one point. Then realised we were on possibly one of the filthiest rivers in Europe and decided better of it and just didn't bother. But I did meet some fabulous people there, some of them actually being investment bankers. Now, I know what people will be saying, investment bankers, horrible people, not at all, lovely. Although I did get this is the scheme, this is the shape of things to come, people. This is why Pride Voyage is going to be is my heart thing. I said to one guy do you not find all this a little bit middle class and bourgeoisie? And he looked me in the eye and said, do you not think we do enough for the underprivileged? So exactly. So by his mindset, anything below middle class is underprivileged.
Wow.
So that was the state of affairs. So
there you go, working class people listening, you are underprivileged.
Yeah, absolutely. Pick up your pit pony and begin working.
Exactly. Get up that chimney and clean it.
Yeah. So I was thoroughly unimpressed, and intend to do better with Pride Voyager in the future.
You're not allowed to say that, Tyhe. You're not allowed to say that because you'll have to return your fag badge. You know that. You can't disagree with. You can't disagree or say anything was not what you would expect it to be to do with LGBT issues nowadays, or you will be put before a gay firing squad and hit with pocketbooks, etc.
Yeah, bring it on. I don't care. It was. I heard nothing. Honestly, the speeches talking about equality and freedom and moving forward. Nothing new. We were saying it 30 years ago. It was completely uninspiring, and it was really middle class and bourgeoisie. It was very. I actually at one point felt really unwelcome. I felt like I did feel like somebody's poor cousin, and people I was looking at as well, very stereotyped. And also LGBT. Hello, I saw one transgender woman there, looking to all intents and purposes like she'd been popped on as some sort of mascot. Frankly,
she's a token trans person.
Yeah,
basically.
very, very much so. Yeah, she waved occasionally at somebody. You know, I was like, "Hi, dear. How are you?"
Wow.
And it was all very. And as we walked onto the boat, you know, we were on the guest list, and I was kind of like, "Hi, it's Tyhe, Egar, and guest for Pride Voyager." And the guy looked at me and went, "Yeah, turn left." Like I'm sorry. So I had no choice but to turn left. I'm assuming that, you know, the middle class people went right, turned right. It was all. It was really, really unimpressive.
The mistake I think you made, Tyhe, is you didn't say, when you introduced yourself, you didn't say, "I'm Tyhe Egar, what."
Yeah, well,
and that way they would have said, "Go to the right, sir. There's bags of gold for you." Waiting,
absolutely.
Which we have plundered from the LGBT community.
Yeah, well, clearly, you know, I was wearing linen, not tweed, obviously. I'd worn the wrong outfit. So yeah, there's my breakdown of the Stonewall celebrations. And you're right, the next time I go down, somebody will be looking for me. They'll already be on Pride Voyager looking for my photo, ready to punch me in the face the next time I go down. And if you're wondering, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be down on the 18th to take my best friend to see Bette Midler, so I won't be hard to track. So yeah, that was it. But other than that, yeah. So I'll just pop in a plug there for Disorder magazine, ladies and gentlemen. Check that out. Young people run it. Fantastic. So it was worth missing for that. But,
absolutely. Maybe we can get somebody on from Disorder in the future to come and tell us a little bit about what they're about.
I'm on it. Yes, I'm going to invite somebody on because it's a really exciting magazine, and it's young people, young minds, not just from the gay community, but certainly from our community, who are definitely the voices that we should be paying attention to, who are going to drag us screaming into the 21st century without making people hate us, which would always be a good thing, I think. You know, yeah. But,
and funnily enough, that's one of the things we're going to be discussing in part 2 with Thomas, and he has some interesting ideologies on why the LGBT community is in the state that it's in. But I'll let him explain that a little bit more. Me too. We can find out your dead Christian whore analogy later on in the show too. What I want to talk about very briefly before I talk about the 4th of July is the fact that we have made a solid decision. We've been talking about it for a long time. No, Tyhe and I are not getting gay married, before you ask. We are going to leave Blog Talk, and this will be our last month with Blog Talk, because we're so disappointed, not just with the quality, but also the level of service and response. You know, if we pay for something, we don't expect a so what attitude. And unfortunately, that's what we've been getting of late. And also, I'm going to speak for me. I'm going to let you speak for yourself, Tyhe, but I just feel very irked that they would have the audacity to add audio advertising on top of the show, which is our intellectual property, as if we endorse this when we're paying anyway. So we're going over to a new format very soon, hopefully by the 1st of August, where we will be totally video. We will be a video show, and you will still be able to access this the same way. You'll be able to access us through either my website or Tyhe's website. Tyhe will have the linkage for the video to be played on his site every week also.
Sure.
But how do you feel about, I know we talked about this a lot, but do you think that in the time you've been involved with the show, that the level of service with Blog Talk has gone downhill?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the amount of times, I mean, it's hard work enough for you and I to do this, considering I'm in Scotland and you're in New York. So it's hard work for us both to get this together, and we've apologised to listeners before if sometimes we talk over each other, because obviously we have to gauge when each of us speak. So it's really difficult when the quality of transmission is poor and they constantly blame something else when we know it's them, and we've tolerated that for quite a while. And as producers, that makes us look quite poor. But then that actually disconnected me several times in the middle of a show and left you hanging, which is, as professional as you are, obviously quite scary, and it leaves you then talking, hoping that I'm going to be able to get back in touch. It actually disconnected. I disconnected a show one night inadvertently, completely, didn't I? I ended the show, and they blamed.
Yep.
They didn't blame the technology. They blamed me for that. Sorry, and it was the technology. And now, as you say, I didn't even know it was you that made me aware of this. The idea that they are putting commercials on the beginning and the end of our show, and letting people think that we're endorsing that, is absolutely and completely unacceptable. Because we have no idea. I mean, they could put anything on there. And if people are listening to our show, and before it starts and when it finishes, they're listening to these things and making the assumption that we're endorsing it, that's absolutely outrageous. It's just simply not acceptable.
And just for the record, if there's anything we do endorse, you'll know for sure that we endorse it, because we'll talk about it a lot. But as well as that, this is actually different from show sponsorship. You know, we have to pay the bills. It's not cheap to run a show, and I think that advertising, unfortunately, is essential unless you're a multimillionaire. Let's not get on to Donald Trump today. So we are moving on, onwards and upwards, and we won't be slurring any Mexicans on this show.
But I think it's quite exciting as well for us. It
is.
I'm moving into the video format. It is exciting. It brings new potential for us. Hopefully, it will bring new guests as well. It brings the new ideas in. It brings new concepts in. So, screw Blog Talk, really.
Yes, absolutely. I'm usually very polite, but screw Blog Talk indeed. When I spoke to one of their representatives today, they said, can you put that in writing? And I said, no. I said, how many times do I need to write to you and tell you how bad your service is? So I'm saying this publicly. Any of you out there that do have Blog Talk shows, it's time to go. It's time to move on, because the standard is terrible. And when your guests get blamed for the poor quality audio, there's something amiss. If you're a company that's charging people for providing these services and the audio quality is so bad that your guests can't be heard, what's the point? So jump ship. It's now time. Leave Blog Talk before it's too late.
Here.
Absolutely. So
I'm just hoping if anybody. Sorry,
Sorry?
I'm just going to say, I just realised if anybody heard a slurping noise, then I'm English and I'm drinking tea. Sorry.
well, we've got no place for English people on this show today, because it's the 4th of July.
Sorry. Yeah. Well, I
Time
threw the tea into the harbour. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. That was a different day, though, wasn't it?
No, it was the 4th of July when they got rid of the
was
Brits.
it the 4th of July?
So that's
I know that.
American Independence Day. So the 4th of July is a patriotic holiday and a day that we celebrate the independence of our country, the United States of America. People celebrate in different ways. However, it's imperative not to forget the true meaning of the day. And the freedoms we are afforded here in America are paramount, and so many take freedom and liberty for granted, and they forget the true meaning of the day. So the 4th of July is a time to commemorate America's declaration of separation from Great Britain that was made on July 4th, 1776. Oh yes, they kicked out the Brits. No more fish and chips, pork pies, and Coronation Street. And the freedoms are a direct result of the sheer determination from our forefathers who worked to establish the United States of America as a free country. It gets less freer every day, though, unfortunately. Those who desire to give up freedom in order to gain security will not have, nor do they deserve either one, which is a quote from Benjamin Franklin. Happy 4th of July from all at Xandermonium, and remember not to take your freedoms and rights for granted, as some would be happy to erode them. So, as a Brit, Ty, I'm just a half Brit. What does American Independence Day mean to you? And do you feel slighted as a British person that they were kicked out on the 4th of July?
Well, not to upset anybody, it means absolutely nothing to me. And thank God they got it. You got independence. Although, having said that, you're not that independent, really, are you, at the minute? Your civil liberties are being taken away every day. You're well on the way to martial law. Your police officers are completely out of control. And your children are killing you with guns. But apart from that, happy Independence Day, America.
Ty speaks on behalf of the American tourist industry, by the way.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the English tried to rule the world. Well, they did rule the world at one point, didn't they? What a mess they made of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but they've not exactly done a great job after we left. They'd like to be fair.
No.
But it doesn't mean anything to me. I mean, everybody should be independent. They talk about the English being incredibly arrogant, and they are. They still are. So, but I don't think independence. I don't think there are any English people anywhere sort of hot under the collar saying yes, we should still be there. It's outrageous.
Exactly.
I think those people are dead.
Yeah.
And as far as celebrating Independence Day, I mean, from an American point of view, of course, it's a big deal, and so it should be. You broke free from English rule. I think, although I think you need to be very careful about it. I mean, when you celebrate it, also you have things you should be kind of hang your head in shame about as well. We'll just mention he said under his breath slavery, but it's where.
Sorry, what did you say, Ty?
Slavery. What? Sorry.
Slavery.
Anyway,
America. Slavery.
Slavery. What? Slavery. What? No.
Surely America would never. Surely America would never force people to perform services that they disagree with. I mean, that's just so un-American.
Well, of course.
We'll talk about that more in part 2.
Yeah. So, yeah, of course, I understand it's a great celebration for America. Because freedom, and then, of course, there's the Native Americans. I'm sure they celebrate it with you.
No, they don't.
Yeah, I know. I'm being facetious. Of course, it's a great celebration.
How dare you be facetious?
Do you know what I'm saying, though? Do you know where I'm going with this? It's like, who gives a shit? It's not real, I mean, there are a lot of white people in America that should really shut the fuck up. But, yeah, good for you. Happy 4th of July, white people.
I definitely think you're right. But here's the thing for me. I don't think it's wrong to be patriotic, and I don't think it's wrong to celebrate these things, as long as you don't conflict others in the process. Because here's the thing for me. I'm 34 years old, and now I've learned
What?
Shut up. And now I've learned that as I've got older, that really you don't have to agree with me. I mean, 25 years ago, I was very kind of like, I was a fiery person, and if you didn't agree with me, I would eviscerate you verbally. But I don't care if you agree with me now, because I know what I know, and if you don't agree with it, that's totally up to you. But I do think that there's too much of an attitude here with some people of, there is only one way, this is the way you must do it, and if you don't do it this way, you're wrong. And God forbid that you disagree with me, because if you do, you're a phobe or a hater or something equally as bad.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, and as I got older, I learned how to spell eviscerate. So it's fantastic. Worked for both of us. But
exactly.
I mean, the reason I've just said what I said is I just had a conversation with a mentor of mine, and we just realised, having that conversation, and he's Asian ethnicity, and it's an interesting conversation about the clock face and trust and how things go, and it is just that case of, everybody gets excited and caught up in the celebrations, and of course it's a celebration worth having, and it was almost, I suppose, out of slavery and freedom. But when you consider what that freedom brought and what happened for you to get it, and the people who are actually are the Aborigines of your country, which are the Native Americans. Aborigine, by the way, for anybody, means natives of a country, any country, before anybody writes in or calls in, because remember, we don't care. So the people who actually commiserate on that day really are the Native Americans who were slaughtered.
Right.
In fact, some to the point of extinction. So all I'm saying, when we all, and in English, anybody who celebrates these things, we really need to, nowadays, because of, again, particularly because of the last talk of the show, what we're going to discuss, I think when we look around the world now at what's happening, we all really need to sit with each other and look at what we celebrate and why we celebrate it, and look at how we're treating each other now, and understand truly what those celebrations mean and where they come from. Because in actual fact, they're all steeped in blood. So what is it we're celebrating? And that's my point. You know what I mean? But not to take away, obviously, a freedom from that. But you need to really look at what that freedom is. And I'm not talking about just the 4th of July. I'm talking about any of those celebrations of freedom, be it, English, American, African, Australian, Asian, European. Do you know what I mean? Because basically they come from murder and bloodshed, and really is that what we should celebrate?
Absolutely.
When actually we should be looking at each other and saying, wow, let's say hi.
Both sides of the pond. I mean, going back hundreds of years, the British and American have blood on their hands, and there's no changing that.
The English are drowning in blood of other countries. That's what I'm saying. I'm not for one second putting that on America. Well, also America, we consider they're Irish, Scottish, Dutch. From all of there's no at that point.
Exactly.
There's no as an American, really.
Are you saying America is a global epicenter for immigration, Tyhe, by any chance?
I couldn't possibly say that quickly, Xander. It's just not in me.
There was this meme circulating the internet a while back, and there was this picture of this Native American guy, and he was saying, let's talk about immigration, and I just kind of thought that was hilarious. That they forget that this country was founded on immigration, and they wonder why they have so many illegal immigrants when we operate a broken system. Fix the system, and then we'll talk.
But absolutely. But I always remember the ZZ Top lookalike guy on the Jerry Springer show years ago who looked like he'd lost his banjo, who was saying that all African Americans should pack their bags and go back to their own, go back to Africa. They don't, they're immigrants. They don't belong, And I just couldn't help smiling, just simply because I thought, you're clearly from Dutch ethnicity. So by your own definition, you need to go home and pack, because none of you are from America. The only people from America are Native Americans. So go home, pack, shut up your racist mouth, and get out. you know, leave this
Absolutely.
beautiful country to the people who actually belong there, you know. So it's all
because for me,
ridiculous.
Because for me, people who refer to themselves as Anglo-Americans or African-Americans or whatever, they detract from their Americanness by not fully encompassing all that being an American involves. Because if you're an American, you're an American. You know, there's no,
yes.
you know.
Sure, absolutely.
You don't hear people saying, I'm a French British person, or I'm an African British person.
And
you know.
No, and exactly, and that's what I am. I'm a quarter Welsh. I'm a quarter French. There is actually Cheyenne blood in my bloodline, but I'm English. I'm an Englishman.
Right.
I don't say any of that. Of course I don't. And you're absolutely right.
Hence the T.
Sorry.
Hence the T.
Hence the T. Hence the T. Yes. Although ironically, it's rooibos, which is African tea.
South African.
But there you go. South African tea. But you're right. People should just be, I'm American. Yeah, because they're quick to stand under the flag and say, how dare you? I have rights. I'm an American citizen.
Right.
You know, as a free American. Well, make your mind up, sweetie. You know.
Yeah. You can't have it all ways, can you?
No, but yet people
unfortunately.
insist. No, but people insist on trying, and I think that's where the confusion lies as well. Is if you don't know who you are, what is it you're fighting for?
Exactly. But here lies the problem. It's people, when you put people into the equation. Because the unfortunate thing is that, unfortunately, there are more stupid people than there are intellectual people who mostly kind of get it. And I'm astounded that how can they function? You know, some of the statements made on social media, some of the insults, when they can't back up their argument. Oh, well, you're fat. Yeah, tell me something I don't know. Oh, well, you're a fag. Yeah, but what is your point?
Yeah.
You know?
I know. It just... And so it goes, though, doesn't it? But look at but that is now, isn't it? I mean, look at what social media has become, and look at what now passes for a celebrity or a star. I'm just sitting now looking at it, thinking, really, seriously, all I have to do is fart in public, and I'm laughing. Really, I could get to number one.
Right.
It's just absurd how easily people's minds are occupied, how easily people are distracted, and then with all this atrocity going on in the world. And yet, suddenly, people are distracted from that, and they're back to watching the Kardashians or some ridiculous English version of that going. But generally, Tyhe is over here. I have no idea. Do you know what I mean? But literally, from atrocity back
it is
to
ridiculous.
that, you know, and that's the world. And it's
So before we go on to the first story of the day, I want to give you a quick laugh. I actually got an email this week saying, do I wish I was as good a singer as Kanye West? And that was hilarious for me, because when I saw him try and sing Freddie Mercury's
oh my God,
Queen song, when I saw that, I was like,
Bohemian
how
Rhapsody.
is this guy a million seller? You know what?
Bohemian Rhapsody, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I could sing that blindfold standing on my head, and even with a sore throat, I would sound better than Kanye West. You know, if you want to have a throwdown with regards to singing Bohemian Rhapsody, let's go there, Kanye. You know, because
absolutely.
I will.
But to be fair, now I've sung it. We've sung it. But don't be saying you can sing it stood in your head. It's a difficult song to sing, Xander. We just know we can sing it better.
Yeah,
I know.
Absolutely,
but it's a difficult song to sing. I've heard Pink do an amazing version of it as well. Although, to be fair, vocally, she is a woman. So, higher range than we have. But yeah,
exactly.
But then I saw that video clip as well when somebody introduced him as the greatest rock singer in the world. And I nearly dropped my phone.
Were you waiting for someone to come out behind him?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just kind of like, oh, great, who's there?
Yeah. So what do you have for us today? What's your first story, Ty? What do you have to share with us?
Well, I just took this from Sky News, basically. Actually, in your neck of the woods, Sky News. I just thought this was quite sweet. It was a burglar suspect who broke down in tears in the dock when the judge recognised him as a former schoolmate and said he had been the best kid in school. Arthur Booth appeared. I know. Arthur Booth appeared in front of Judge Mindy Glazer at Miami-Dade Bond Court, charged with burglary. Booth, 49, was arrested on Monday after being spotted driving a car that matched the description of one allegedly involved in a robbery, failing to stop after police officers signalled him to. A police chase followed, resulting in 2 accidents before he crashed the car, which isn't good. He fled on foot but was eventually caught and charged with various offences. When he was taken into court, the judge looked at him for a moment or two and then asked, "Did you go to Nautilus?" "Oh my goodness," he replied, several times at first with smiles, then breaking down in tears. "I'm sorry to see you there," replied Judge Glazer. "I always wondered what happened to you." "This was the nicest kid in middle school," she told the court. "He was the best kid in middle school. I used to play football with him, all the kids, and look what happened. What's sad is how old we've become," she continued before finishing the conversation with, "Good luck to you, sir. I hope you were able to come out of this okay and just lead a lawful life." The judge set Booth's bond at $43,000, which is £27,500. So there you go. How bizarre is that? I hope you come out of this well. By the way, it's going to cost you $27,000 to get out of prison. And he was the best good kid in middle school. I'm kind of, I'm worrying about her character judgment. But how embarrassing would that be, really? I just thought that was quite sad somehow for you to sort of stand up in court and look your friend in the eye and realise that it's all over by the shouting.
Well, I actually saw that video the other day on Facebook. The video has been circulating, and I kind of thought that was quite sad too. I mean, it must be embarrassing enough to be arrested. But then to be up at court before one of your peers, somebody you had been in school with,
and clearly got on well with,
set your bail,
But what
that would be like
was her telling the court, this guy was a great kid. We got on really well. He was the best kid in middle school, and is that not even more demeaning, really, from that point of view, of just being, and by the way, if you've got $27,000, I'll see you outside for a drink, kind of thing,
Right.
I just found it again, but we were talking about kind of the social media thing and that, and what's happening in the world and how situations change and how people's lives change, and that's what I found kind of just, I don't know, odd about it. It just struck me as odd that conversation would take place between a judge and what do you call him? He's not a convict, is he? At that point, he's a
he's the defendant.
Accused, defendant.
Yeah.
Whereas, would that happen? Would that have happened?
I watched Law and Order, and that would be like. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being up at court and there's a jury and Sheba is in the gallery? Sheba is on the on the kind of on the jury panel, and you look across and there you are feeling stupid, and then there's Sheba. I think I've seen you in Barnsley.
It wouldn't go well.
Oh gosh.
It would be at that point I pleaded guilty.
Yeah, I mean, where do you go from there, though? Where do you go from there when your school friend is the judge that's just set your bail?
It's kind of, I suppose it shows just the disparate ways in which your life can go, really, isn't it? You could have been a judge,
right?
Or you could be doing a police court chase.
But I think people would have a different take on that, though. Someone would say that he was obviously underprivileged and she was better privileged. That she was more privileged. Everybody would have a different take on that. But I think her sadness was quite genuine, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But they were in the same school. But it was just that exchange I found quite odd. Why not visit him after the trial or after the hearing? Rather than have that exchange in an open courtroom.
Right.
I mean, in one sense, how nice. But on the other side, to me, on the other hand, I just found that quite odd. And maybe that's the Englishman in me. Not that there is an Englishman in me right now, but I just find that, I don't know. I just found it strange. I found it Not inappropriate, just weird. I just thought, really? I would not have that conversation with you in an open courtroom.
I mean, my first thought was, did she pay his bail? Because if that had been me, my first response would have been, you poor schmuck. I kind of feel bad for you. I don't know, maybe she wasn't allowed to do that, but that was my first thought when I saw that video. I was like, I wonder if she paid his bail. And I know everyone's not like me, and don't send me your emails tell me that I'm a bleeding heart, because I don't care. But that was my first thought. My first thought was, did she pay his bail?
But you're right, you are a bleeding heart, because my first thought was, well, did she have to set it that high? But I'm bearing in mind I have no heart or conscience, so it's irrelevant to me. But I suppose it's a lot of money, though,
I have
isn't
to
it?
say,
Why
though,
would you?
not even in my defense, but it doesn't always. It's often a hindrance because I care, and I think people take advantage of that because people would think, oh well, Xander wouldn't be that cruel. I mean, I can be cruel. I mean, push me far enough, and I can be very cruel. But usually, I do care too much. But I'm not sure that is a bad thing, really. What do you think out there? Give us a call. 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. No, I'm not asking you to call in to tell me if you think I care too much. Tell us what you think about the things we've been talking about today. If you have any comments or questions or anything you want to share with us, you can do so by calling 347-884-9061. Don't forget that today's show is sponsored by Warwick Insurance Agency, www.warwickagency.com, insuring people for life. So let me ask you, Ty, if you had been the judge and that had been somebody you'd gone to school with, would you have set their bail lower, and would you have paid their bail for them?
It depends, because I hated most of the people I went to school with, so I would have probably given them the death sentence.
Not for burglary. You'd have given them the death sentence for burglary?
If it was one of the guys I went to school, they tortured me. They made my life hell, absolutely. And they wouldn't have had to wait long. Yeah, I'd have been like, right, next Saturday, you're screwed, man. Yeah,
but
definitely.
Isn't it funny how a lot of these things, as I say, are down to interpretation? I've met people that I went to school with, and I remember them as being cruel to me, and they've said, oh, Xander, you were a real bully at school. And I'm like, because I stood up to you, I was a bully. So it's funny where the lines kind of get blurred. Oh,
no, I used to get beaten up. No, I used to get beaten up. There's no blurred line there at all, and verbally abused, and my life was hell at school. So no, there's no blurred line. They were all monsters. Not all of them, obviously. I had a couple of friends, but most of them were monsters. So no, I would have no problem. Get that rope around his neck and get me a lever. Not not true. I wouldn't kill anybody.
I don't know. I don't know which is worse. Me caring too much, or you not caring enough. I mean, there has to be a happy medium.
They could have us both on the panel, couldn't they? And then you and I can argue, and whatever happens in the middle is what the judgment is. So that would be all right then. So we could both be on the panel, and everything would come out okay.
But I think we have always had that element in our relationship. We've been good friends for over 25 years, and I think that's been a common thread.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to kill them, you want to cuddle them. It works for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't always, and like I said, people push me too far. My teeth certainly do get shown and revealed. But even if someone has offended me, and I go at them, I kind of feel bad for doing that. And I don't know what it is about me that I do that. Because even when it's justified, I don't want to hurt somebody in the process. But I guess that goes back to my my inability to,
Yeah, I just pushed them off the roof. Bye. Too many fools suffered, I think. But that's just me for you. So there you go, listeners. Don't really mess with me. I'll hurt you. That's all I have to say. So if anybody from Stonewall's listening, really don't try attacking me in 2 weeks when I'm in London. I will punch you.
Absolutely, and he's not joking. And this is him. Calm down. I remember being in a bar with Tyhe 25 years ago, and somebody saying something offensive about me, and I had to stop him from hitting them for being offensive to me. So picture this. There we are. Picture it, Sicily. Picture it, London, 19-something or other, 1910 or 1912, and somebody is being nasty to me, and then Tyhe wants to hit them, and I stop them from hitting Tyhe from hitting them for being nasty to me. But there you go.
That's how my Xander is.
Well, I'm not trying to make myself nicer or anything like that. I'm just me, and I get it from all angles. I'm not allowed an opinion anymore. I'm not allowed to say what I feel. I'm not allowed to disagree with anybody, and everybody's happy for everyone to be offended. Everyone's allowed to be slammed on Facebook, especially myself and God. I'm in good company though.
Yeah, my theory is if I haven't offended at least 2 people in a day, then frankly I've not lived my life properly.
You don't mean that. Come on, be honest.
No, I think I do. I mean, particularly in the point now, I've got to the point now where, when you've got to the point as a gay man, to have an opinion as a gay man, then I'm really within the gay community. Do you know what I mean? I am not having some prehistoric queen tell me what my opinion is about the way the gay community is moving. And if you don't like what I have to say, kiss my ass. I'm not interested. The only opinions I am interested in are from the people I respect, the people I love, or opinions I have solicited. Otherwise, I'm not really remotely interested. It's just an opinion.
Absolutely. Let me stop you there. Sorry to interrupt you, but our guest is eating the virtual vol au vent in the virtual green room. So let's bring him on. Without further ado, Thomas Schmitz is the chairman of American Grizzlies United, also known as AGU, a grassroots organization dedicated to organizing, educating, and training volunteers for American political elections. Now, like myself and many of you out there, Thomas had quite a different take on the Scotus same-sex marriage decision. Here to break it down a little further for us is the one, the only, Mr. Thomas Schmitz. Welcome to the show, Thomas. How are you doing?
Xander, I am so happy to hear your voice for the first time. We've been, internet friends and then third-party friends via Doc G and Anne Marie for a couple years. But my goodness, what a wonderful day today, the 4th of July, which is not controversial, to actually hear your voice for the first time.
Absolutely, and ditto. You're live on Xandermonium with myself, Xander Gibb, and my good friend Tyhe Egar, who is over in the United Kingdom. Is Glasgow actually still the United Kingdom? I can never keep up.
It is. Yes. Hi, Thomas. It's Tyhe here, and yes, we are still part of the United Kingdom or Great Britain. I don't know what the hell we are anymore, but we're still part of it anyway.
Absolutely.
Hello, nice to meet you.
You too, Thomas. Hi.
So, Thomas, this decision...
Talking about the Supreme Court decision from last week, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. The decision handed down by Scotus with regards to same-sex marriage. So tell us your first initial reaction to this.
Well, there were several. One of them was that I understood why the commercially driven LGBT recently added the letter Q to their acronym, because, we still have short-term memory, even though we're kind of encouraged not to have short-term memory as far as history goes. And originally, the LGBT was called the GL. Then it became the LGB. And then it became the LGBT. and now it's become the LGBTQ. So we need to ask ourselves, why does the commercially driven LGBTQ keep changing their name? And it's because they are profit-driven, and they are very irresponsibly convincing young gay people that they are victims, that they are oppressed, and that they don't have the inherent right to a self-identity. They have based their entire lives on sex. Sex isn't that interesting. Dogs do it. I do not believe that sex is the most interesting thing about a gay man. I mean, my goodness, where would we be without Alexander the Great or Jean-Paul Gaultier or perhaps even Picasso or any of the great homosexuals, artists and thinkers who have contributed to this society, so or to the entire civilization of mankind. And so my first reaction was, oh, now I get it. It's because now that they've got what they've wanted, what they've whined about and complained about for years because they were too stupid to read the laws that were already on the books in many states, they got what they wanted, so they needed to move on to their next group of victims and oppressed people, so they could exploit them for profit, and that is the trannies, and then now the Q, which stands for questioning. Now, how are they going to? It's so incredibly fluid that they can almost say anything to any group of people, convince them that they're victims, and say, hey, send us $5. This guy is going to take away your rights. Hey, send us $5. This guy is going to give you your rights. It's for profit, and it's disgusting. I think psychologically what they have done to gay millennials is outrageous. Gay millennials have no idea that they have a life or a mind outside of their sexuality. And again, sex is not interesting. Dogs do it. The LGBTQ has convinced an entire generation of gay people that they are nothing but victims and oppressed and persecuted, when in reality, all one has to do is read the laws already on the books. Here in California, my domestic partner and I actually read the laws on the books, passed in 1999. We went down to the post office, filled out the form, sent it to Sacramento. The governor signed it and sent us back a certificate very kindly that said, congratulations on your domestic partnership. Here is your certification. If you have any problems with hospital visitations or with someone renting to you or any of the things that the LGBTQ whine about and tell gay people that they don't have is completely covered in that certificate. So my domestic partner and I, who know how to read, we read the laws on the books in our states, went ahead and did it, and then went on with our lives. We didn't complain. We didn't protest. We didn't harass people. We understood that we are Americans first. And the sex part, again, not so interesting. We're people. We are humans, and we are American, and we got on with our lives, and that was that. You know, and then all these years, all we've heard from the LGBT, now Q, is complaining about this and complaining about that and just doing a horrible disservice to young gay people everywhere who right now are probably suffering from equality withdrawal syndrome. Who are they now? What are they supposed to do now? What are they supposed to live for now? It's really disgusting because the commercially driven LGBTQ has robbed an entire generation of young gay people from self-identity. They have no self-identity outside of their sexuality and their imaginary persecution and victimhood, and here they are. They got what they wanted. Now what? What happens to them? There are young gay people right now who are probably 19, 20, 21 years old, living in a one-bedroom apartment in West Hollywood that they can't afford, and the last 5, 10 years, all they've done is protested and screamed about equality without really even understanding that they had it the entire time. It's just like in The Wizard of Oz when Dorothy had the power to go home the entire time, but she wouldn't understand unless she went through the process that she went to. If Glinda was right. If Glinda had told her in the beginning, click your shoes 3 times, she wouldn't believe her. But my goodness, what they have done to these gay people is it's outrageous. All you had to do was read the laws already on the books, and not just here in California, in most states. And the real sad thing for me is it didn't have to go this way. The only difference between domestic partnership laws in the states and marriage, quote, equality was the ability to file joint taxes on a federal level for same-sex couples and benefits for Social Security once one of the partners dies. All they
what
had
about
to do was
immigration,
take
Thomas?
bills, slap an amendment on it, pass it through both houses. President Bush was trying to do that, and then the lesbians seized power of the LGBT and killed the bill and demanded a redefinition of a word that has meant one thing for millennia and screwed everything up. Now we cut to 10, I don't know, however many years it is later, and think of all the money and the time and the division that has happened because the lesbians screwed it up when President Bush was getting ready to pass domestic partnership reform. It didn't have to go this way.
So what about things like immigration and stuff that are not covered under the domestic partnership statute, Thomas?
All you have to do is slap an amendment on it. That's what President Bush was trying to do before the lesbians screwed it up. When the lesbians seized power of the LGBTQ, they poo-pooed the domestic partnership reform that was working its way through Congress with support that was growing, and they demanded a full redefinition of a word to mean something that it does not. Anything could be covered with an amendment. It's very clear. The domestic partnership laws all have the same language, and the language is shall have the same rights as married spouses. Okay? It's very, very clear. Even the stupid gay people should be able to understand this. Shall have the same rights as married spouses. It didn't have to go this way. It really didn't.
So one thing that we've identified...
Thomas, sorry, can I just add, right, by the way, I've been applauding, you just can't hear it through my microphone, because we've been saying a lot of these things. But do you not think, though, Thomas, just from the point of view of the wording, because I'm with you as well, these letters, by the time we finish, we'll have the whole alphabet in our banner, which is absurd. But do you not think, though, from the point of view of equality, that we should be able to just say married as opposed to, why should it be worded differently, is what I'm asking.
Real equality, if the LGBTQ really gave a crap about true equality, that is only possible when being gay is irrelevant. Until it's irrelevant, there will not be real equality. Real equality is not fixed by changing words and redefining them to mean things they do not. Real equality will be achieved when being gay is as irrelevant as someone having red hair. If the LGBTQ cares about young gay people, they must give them a self-identity that is not based in sex. Sex is not interesting. It is the least interesting thing about a gay man. I like to think that gay men can be very creative and be very good thinkers and contribute a lot to society. My goodness, I mean, half the girls on TV can't go on TV until they get their hair done by some queen in a studio on the lot. I mean, think about it. Elizabeth Taylor wouldn't be Elizabeth Taylor without all her little gaggle of gay guys helping her be Elizabeth Taylor. I mean, my goodness, gay people are very interesting, fascinating, creative people. Look at Broadway. Look at the Tonys. Look at Wicked. Wicked wouldn't be possible without gay people. Let's focus on that. Let's not focus on bedroom.
Thomas, absolutely. Absolutely, Thomas. I've always said if you took all the gay people out of Hollywood, it would be a car park. But what I'm talking about, But I'm not talking about sex. What I'm saying is, from an equality point of view, because now we're all talking about equal, equal marriage, whatever. But that's what I'm asking, though. Shouldn't it just be called marriage? I mean, what I'm saying from that point of view is, why shouldn't it all just be called marriage rather than a civil partnership and marriage or equal rights? And so it should just be, well, I can get married now, rather than emphasize. I'm not saying that we should emphasize. That's what I mean, because I don't agree with what's been going on. I think a lot of the generation that you're talking about are causing hatred between the gay and straight community, because we're forcing we're becoming the bigots that we fought against for generations. But what I'm asking is, what is wrong, though, with wanting that the wording to just be equal, rather than having different wording for a gay civil partnership and a straight civil partnership? Am I saying that right? Am I making that clear?
Yeah, I completely understand what you're saying. Okay, a couple of things first. One, this entire disaster, it's a state issue. It was not it's not a federal issue. Marriage is not mentioned in the Constitution. Anything that's not mentioned in the Constitution is the responsibility of the states. When Reagan used to say, in America you can vote with your feet, this is what he was talking about. And the opposition will say, well, gay people can be married in one state and not the other. Exactly. That's the entire point of America. There are euthanasia laws right now in Oregon that many of us find offensive. We believe in life from conception. Actually, I believe in life from a little bit before conception to natural death. But the people of Oregon have voted for euthanasia. Okay? So if you don't like that, as Reagan said, you can vote with your feet. It never should have gone up to the Supreme Court. It's a social issue.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. No, sorry. I understand what you're saying. So because it's been blanketed now across the whole of America.
Yes.
That's the objection. Sorry, I understand.
Right.
Exactly.
But I think it's twofold.
You read both the opinion and the dissent, and it's completely illegal, by the way, what they did. Absolutely. And they admit it when you read it. If you read the opinion and the dissent and the Constitution, put the three of them together and read them, it's illegal, because in the opinion they say that religious organizations and churches have the right to teach and preach their religion, and that's against the First Amendment, because in the First Amendment it doesn't say that religious institutions and churches have the right to teach and preach. It says they have the right to exercise their religion, and there's a big difference between teach and preach and exercise. And the problems have already begun. I was reading last night, and I think it's in Billings, Montana. A man walked into the county registrar and he said, I would like a marriage license for my second wife, because I was reading the opinion and the dissent of the Supreme Court, and they said that it is a right for all people to have the right to marry. And he says, I would like my second wife to have the same rights, the same privileges, and the same benefits as my first wife. And here's the problem, because when you take the church out of marriage, what's left? It's a contract, okay? And a contract, the contract itself, a secular contract of marriage, what it boils down to is benefits and how they and privileges and responsibilities, but benefits and how they should be distributed. And the question is, should they be distributed equally? And the correct answer is yes, they should be distributed equally. That's why it's nothing has been fixed by redefining a word, nothing at all. So now we've got this guy in Billings, Montana, going into the county registrar saying, my second wife is not recognized. Why does my second wife, I love her, Obama said love wins, why will love not win for my second wife? She is now being discriminated against, okay? You see how it works, boys? I mean, this is just the beginning, and I feel so awful for all the young gay people who think that they've achieved something really good, when really all they've achieved is creating the new Roe v. Wade.
It's an empty win, isn't it? Let's face it. But I want to ask you something, Thomas. I want to talk to you about cake because it's a real poignant issue right now. I read yesterday that the Christian couple who refused to bake a cake for a lesbian couple which should be everybody's right. No one should be forced to perform a service that they don't want to perform, because that's basically slavery. Not only have they been fined $135,000, but they've been told now that by law they're not allowed to discuss this matter further. Where is the constitutionality of all of this? Where is it? There's none, surely.
Oh, nothing. Chaos is coming, and here's the sad part. All those young gay people who were misled and robbed by the commercially driven LGBTQ of their inherent right to a self-identity, they're going to take the backlash on this, because people are going to get mad. Evangelical Christians make up 25% of the country, my goodness. And, the LGBTQ is lying about the percentages of gay people. It's somewhere between 3 and 5%, and I'm going to tell you how they do it. What they do is they're basing their statistics on the question, have you ever had a homosexual experience, instead of, are you a homosexual? There's a big difference. And that's how they inflate the numbers. And, of course, they've got the media on their side and Hollywood on their side and academia on their side. And, once again, the world is being community organized right before our very eyes. Small, tiny, very loud groups of people are acting as if they are the majority. Margaret Thatcher used to talk about this all the time when she passed her trade union laws. She used to go on, I've watched many interviews with her, and they would ask her a question as if she was some horrible woman, and she would say, no, what you don't understand is these tiny organized groups, they do these outrageous parliamentary activities and actions. They'll, for instance, wait until everyone's too tired to stay, and then they'll have the vote when there's only 3 people left, and then they present themselves as if they are the majority. They're echoed by the newspapers and all the garbage propaganda rags and the media and stuff, and then they convince people that they're the majority, when it's really just a very tiny group of angry people presenting themselves as the minority. I mean, it's outrageous, and at what point does it stop? I'm really sick of the labels. I'm sick of the black labels and the Chinese labels and the disabled labels and the lesbian and the gay. Let's drop the labels. We're all Americans. Hyphenated Americans, it doesn't work. Until we get to that point, we will always have division, because they're just going to go from group to group to group. It's really quite simple. I really don't understand why so many young gay people have been hoodwinked by the commercially driven LGBTQ.
But
it's really sad, and I don't know what to think
Thomas, about. Sorry. In fairness, I kind of understand why, because I think that we've all been there, and it's only from enlightenment that we can actually see it from a different perspective. Because if you're part of a community that tells you should only think one way, when you try and diversify from that way, they want to disown you. And I don't want to be a part of a community that doesn't allow me to think for myself or to be my own person. And it's very similar politically too. There's only a narrow tunnel in the LGBT, and if you don't follow that, then they don't want you. You don't speak for them. But we've had this conversation before, Thomas. Who elects the LGBT leaders? Not me. Did you, Tyhe?
No, absolutely. But what I was going to say as well, we've had this conversation.
The Human Rights Council, or whatever they're called, they actually have a corporate equality index, and they bully companies into doing this. But here, I'm going to break it down. It's really simple. Homosexuality is not a community. I know people aren't going to like this, but this is the truth. Homosexuality is not a community. It is a sexual preference. And until everyone understands that, these problems will continue. It will be endless until everyone understands that. It's not a community. It is a sexual preference, period.
But I have a problem. No, hang on a minute, though. But I have a problem, Thomas, with it's not a community. No, fair enough. We're just people. But with the wording sexual preference causes confusion across the board, because using the word preference gives people, that's a bullet for people's guns, for certain people's guns as well. Because as far as preference, I was born this way. I didn't choose to be this way. I was born a homosexual.
Well, I disagree with that. I believe, the question is homosexuality a choice, or are you born that way? And the answer is really both. Because actually, I remember making the choice, so, people can't tell me it's not a choice, because I remember making it. What happens is there are certain environmental triggers, and they're either turned on or they're turned off. And many of the stereotypes, the overbearing mother and the absent father, that's true. And that's how my triggers got turned on, and then I made the choice. But it is a choice. But it's also a predestined. What they're not telling you, again, intentionally, so people fight about it, is it's not just two choices, it's three. And the answer is the third, which is both. It is both a choice and predetermined. And it is predetermined because there are environmental triggers that can be turned on or off. And again, many of the stereotypes, like the overbearing mother and the absent father, turn the triggers on. And then at that point, the individual makes a choice. And if it's not a choice, then why do I remember making it?
Well, so what you're actually saying is that hang on a minute, it's a choice from the perspective of it's a choice from the perspective of one chooses whether to act on it or not. Because I believe that I was born gay. I don't believe that, it was a learned behavior. So are you saying that people choose to act upon
of a child's life, and that's the first 3 years? Like when you see a mother holding a baby and staring into its eyes, new science is showing that there are actually invisible to the naked human eye, like neurotransmission taking place. So any problem that the mother is having at that time, be it anxiety, fear, or anything, is transferred to the child. So it's environmental. And again, the triggers can be turned on or turned off, and then it becomes a choice. So, like I keep saying, the answer is both. But the commercially driven LGBTQ is only acting as if there are two answers, but there's really three, and the correct answer is both. It's both predetermined and a choice, because the triggers can go either way. Look at the new science on the formative years of a child. There's a lot going on. During the formative years of a child, the entire personality of that child is decided, is determined, is set in motion. And it is most people don't remember the first 3 years of their life, but that's when everything happens. And that's why people can't remember making the choice, because you're so very young, and the environmental triggers are either turned on or off. It's very simple, but in one way, but in many ways, I suppose it's not, because we've been dumbed down. Will and Grace did such a great thing for gay people, because the grandmother in Middle America who had never experienced a homosexual person, she thought Jack was funny. Well, guess what? The LGBTQ, the commercially driven LGBTQ, just undid that, because now, just like this guy in Billings, Montana, who wants to know why his second wife is being denied her right to be recognized for her love by him, that's going to keep happening. And that grandma in Middle America who watched Will and Grace and thought Jack was funny, she's not going to think gay people are so funny anymore, because she doesn't like polygamy. And you know what? Neither do I.
Well, we're coming to the end of our time together, Thomas. I just want to kind of bring this together a little, because the thing is, obviously, we don't all have to agree. But what I'm finding, and I know you are too, and I know Tyhe has also, is that those of us that don't agree with the LGBTQ. You see, the acronym is so crazy now I can't even remember it. If we don't agree with the total ideology, we get a certain response from that community. What have your experiences been of that? I know you said yesterday that you'd had hate mail, and you were going to share with us some of the ridiculous stuff that people had said to you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. I don't know where to start. Dr. Gina did a column about 3 or 4 months ago where she talked about some of the stuff that I've been doing, and then that's when it started. And so I've been, I'm a Nazi, I'm a secret Nazi, and because my name is Thomas S Schmitz, and so like on Twitter it's Thomas, and the last letter of Thomas is a small s, and then I capitalize my middle initial, and then I capitalize my last name, so that means I'm a secret Nazi because of the SS. Let's see, I'm a house homo. I am, this is a good one. I'm actually a very ironic comedian. I'm a witch. What else have I heard? Oh, and get this, I've had 3 bank accounts hacked, and I've had, let's see, what else? Letters sent to me that just say the most, very non-tolerant and non-open-minded things. So, it's just I am treated with kindness and respect in a room full of conservative Christians. I cannot say the same thing about the LGBTQ because when I'm in a room full of the LGBTQ and I begin to speak and share my American point of view, I am treated with closed-minded, intolerant actions directed at me and attacks and verbally abused and offensive things said to me. And you know what my position on it is I am also a member of a protected class. So if you hurt my feelings or disagree with me in any way, you're a bigot.
Well, I'm just about to, on Monday, Thomas, go to file a lawsuit for all the people that don't listen to my show because I'm gay. Because surely that's discrimination, right? Surely I can force people to listen to my show, especially the ones that have an issue with me being gay.
Yes, because you are also a member of a protected class, and anyone who disagrees with anything that you say or hurts your feelings in any way or says anything offensive to you is a bigot. And if people don't like this new paradigm in America, there is one person to blame, and we all know who he is. And so if they don't like this, they know who to call.
Ghostbusters?
I'm sorry?
Ghostbusters.
Oh, yeah, Ghostbusters, yes.
Well, we come to the end of the show, Thomas. Tell people where they can find you on social media so they may carry on the civil discourse.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Xander. My Twitter handle is at Thomas S Schmitz, and Schmitz is SCHM as in Mary, T Thomas Z Zebra at Thomas S Schmitz. And that's where I am, and all the links are there and stuff. But we need to say Happy 4th of July. It is not controversial.
Absolutely.
And anyone listening, and wondering what's going on in the country and feeling that something just doesn't seem right in America, go on Twitter right now and you will see things like Happy White Privilege Day, Happy Slave Owner Day, Happy Day for White People Only Day, crap like that. And that's not right. We're all Americans, and I want to wish everyone, every single American who is on this consecrated, God-given land, happy Independence Day. I love each and every one of you, even the ones I disagree with, and I pray for all of you daily.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining us today, Thomas. If you want to check out Thomas's information, you can also go to xandergibb.com, go to the radio page, and all Thomas's links are there, and you can also check him out at AGU, the American Grizzlies United site. So now, Thomas, thanks for joining us, and I hope you come join us again to share your views.
Nice to speak to you, Thomas.
Thank you so much. I do give one shout-out really quickly. I am a contributor at conservatives4palin.com. That's conservatives4palin.com. And I've kind of lagged a little bit with my team on AmericanGrizzlies.com right now because I've been so concentrated on conservatives4palin.com, where I am a contributor. Thank you, Xander, and happy 4th of July to both of you.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, Thomas, and we hope you'll come join us again soon. Take care.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
That was Thomas S. Schmitz from American Grizzlies United with his particular take on the Scotus same-sex marriage decision. One thing I love about this show, Tyhe, is that, even you and I don't agree on everything, but we can still walk away and be friends, and I think that that's what is imperative. I'm blocking you now, you bitch.
Screw you.
Absolutely. So once again, I want to say today's show was sponsored by, where are we? Warwick Insurance Agency. Thanks so much to them for sponsoring today's show, www.warwickagency.com. Insuring people for life. Their details are on the show page today and also on the Facebook page too, so make sure to check them out. Do you want to just give a shout out to your leanings, where they can find you, et cetera, Tyhe?
You can find me on www.tpegar.com, or you can follow me on @TypeOEgar, which is, or just go to www.tpegar.com. My name's too long, Xander. I'm going to change it on Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm not really going to do that.
Just call yourself T. Egar. You can go to tpeggar.com and you can find out all about Tyhe. You can find him there or on social media or in any bar in Glasgow after 10 o'clock
in any bar in Glasgow. Any bar in Glasgow.
Thanks once again for great chat and great conversation. I don't know what's going on next week. We'll let you know a little bit more about that. But we're going to play out now. I have to load up some more songs to play out with. We will be able to start playing Tyhe's Farewell to Alchemy stuff again really soon, which I'm looking forward to sharing with you. I was at an event recently, and I played my favorite Farewell to Alchemy song, which is Maestro, and people were up and dancing and loved it. So make sure you go and check out Farewell to Alchemy either through Tyhe's page or on iTunes. This is called The Boogie Down Bronx. It's by Laurie Nouveau. I'm Xander Gibb, and it's been a pleasure sharing with you.
And I'm Tyhe Egar, and I'm on Spotify as well, by the way. But there you go. Have a great weekend and happy 4th of July, people.
We love you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Let's go uptown, boogie down. Uptown, boogie down. Uptown, boogie down. We woke up with a new proclamation. Destination was the boogie down Bronx. From California to Philadelphia, New York City to the let's go.